Hi and welcome to RC Copter Love. For me, helicopters always have been the most fascinating flying vehicles, and in this video I show you the 6 features that make them so special for me in a flight. Feature number 1 is that you can take off a helicopter from almost everywhere. You just need a piece of flat ground and then you can take it off. That is a little bit wider bigger than the rotor disc. And feature number 2 already, that you can fly away with a helicopter in every direction. Backwards, come back to the landing point. I will not land, do not take too much time. I just will put it over the place. Oopsala. Oh, that was bad. But we had luck, nothing happened. It was the wind. You can fly away sideways with the helicopter. And of course we bring it once again back. It's very strong wind today, so not the ideal day, but I have to make this video and I cannot choose the wind. And I can show you that helicopters are really relatively unimpressed by wind. And of course you can fly away forwards. And now we are going to another point where I want to show you the agility of a helicopter. Helicopters are unbelievably agile. So you can start them and then stop them very fast on one point. This was of course not a very good example because it's windy today and it's very difficult to keep the altitude when you make such maneuvers. But you can do this sideways, give the counter impulse, hit input to stop it. You can do it backwards. You can turn around while stopping the helicopter, so something like this, and holding it at one position. And this is used, this is feature number 3, the agility, and this is used in motorsports, for instance. You have seen maybe MotoGP races where the helicopter follows the pilots on a long straight, and then they are having a sharp hairpin. The helicopter goes after them, or in rally car you can go sideways if it's necessary from the camera angle. So you can do sharp turns, you can follow them in S turns, and we can change the continent. In Australia they do cattle herding with helicopters. That was in the past we're doing cowboys on the horses. So they try, we have a row of cows here in front of us, and we want to persuade them to go over to the right, but they don't want to. So we have to scare them with our helicopter. We have to fly in front of them. We have to push them. One cow is going to the right, and we try to bring her back to the trees in the background. We have to turn around, and these are things you can only do with helicopters. So the next thing that is so fascinating for me with helicopters as a former motorcycle racer, bank angles. So you can do really nice bank angles and turns. In this wind is not easy, but maybe you see there's a little bit bank angle. As I told you, the wind makes it difficult today, but you see there's some bank angle. And even Marc Marquez with his MotoGP bike can only dream about these bank angles. This is fantastic for former motorcycle riders. I made a video, I give a link in the description. And now we are coming to the next point, that you can, even if you cannot hover, if you cannot land with a helicopter over a specific point, here is a little bit higher grass, you can hover with it and put down a sling or a rope to save people. Many thousands, maybe millions of lives were saved in this way. This is feature number 5, that you can do only with helicopters, saving people in the mountain And now feature number 6, not so important for full-size helicopters, but for me very important. You can do acrobatics with them, loops and other things. Now the wind has settled a little bit, so I can show you some small loops. And these are the main features. But what fascinated me from the beginning, that the helicopter pilot can tilt the helicopter to the front and it flies away, or to the side or to the back. That what I was showing you as the feature number 1. For me, helicopters are a symbol of freedom. You can do almost everything with them. Only the fantasy is your border. You can do the same sideways to the other side. It's fascinating, this kind of balancing the helicopter. But I get the information that it's time for me to land. So I will show you the same with my scale helicopter. With this little scale canopy, I can show you this in a little bit different way, because this looks more like a full-size helicopter now. So this starting, taking off, flying away, backwards, sideways. It looks different than with the M4. And of course, forwards, flight. Careful with this wind. And all these features I mentioned, the agility of the helicopters, that you can stop them so fast, like now, that you can fly backwards, stop them, fly forwards, point them on one point, that you can turn them around in flight. You can do everything really your fantasy is. The sideways flying. Everything is in a different way visible with this little scale helicopter. It's not very scale, and of course if you put a scale fuselage on your helicopter, which was meant for 3D flying, it loses a bit of its of its possibilities, because it's heavier, you have less power, so you have more the situation like with a full-size helicopter, that you have limited power, while with a 3D helicopter you have almost unlimited power. So we can place this helicopter over this grass here in the front, we can place it over there, so you can place helicopters really there where you can't get by foot. That's what I meant with the freedom, and that's what made me be so fascinated when I was a child, when I was living at the hospital and I was seeing the helicopter started and it was tilting to the forward, to the front and flying away. With a full-size helicopter this looks even a little bit more spectacular, because you have more mass. The full-size helicopter has more mass, and this moment takes longer from tilting the helicopter until it begins to move, what you have seen now when I was tilting it less. And this is something what is really fantastic. There's some kind of elegance in this, and I always loved it, and I love really that you can place the helicopter wherever you want. You can fly now over this high grass in front of us in direction to these trees, so you can do whatever you want. The fantasy and maybe your abilities as a pilot are the border. And you have seen it's a windy day today, but it's still possible to fly these helicopters. Now the wind was getting less, very unusual. Normally during the day it begins to increase. So this was where the 6 features I love the most in helicopters, and that makes them so special. And that was this episode for RC Helicopter Love. Thank you for subscribing us. We are getting more and more, and this helps very much. I thank very much my wife for taking her time to film me with these videos. And see you again the next time. Bye. Give us a like. Bye bye.